So let's talk about emotional eating again. Someone wrote me on my Tumblr asking me about being a food addict and what are the warning signs. And one of the warning signs I listed was emotional eating. Um, you have to be very careful about tying your emotions to food, whether you eat to celebrate or you eat because you're sad or you eat just because you're depressed or you eat because you're bored or you eat because you're celebrating and are happy. You know, when you think of food in those terms, that's a good warning sign that your relationship with food is not where it should be. So the reason I know this is because being a food addict myself, I'm very prone to emotional eating. So I have a short little story for you here. Um, Over the past couple of weeks, I've been fairly stressed when it comes to the new shop, and I've been hitting some of my comfort foods. Now, I've been staying in my right caloric zone, and I've still been staying under my basal metabolic rate, and I still have created a calorie deficit, and I'm still losing weight, but I've leaned towards having a little more meat than I should be having necessarily, or a little more sugar than I should be having here or there. Things along that lines. So stress eating, but staying within my calorie goals, and that's at least I'm not gaining weight from it. But today, 24 or 48 hours ago, my girlfriend brought a dog home from her nightly walk, and he was a stray in the neighborhood. Had a little bit of a skin condition, had some fleas, had some problems, and we knew that we were going to have to turn it over eventually to see if they had a family, because we're not allowed dogs in our house according to our lease, and we knew that we would just have to take good care of her while we had her, and then try to find her home, which we did. And it turned out to be a neighbor not too far away. And they have a nice house, and they seemed like nice people. And they have a fenced-in backyard, which is something we couldn't have provided for the dog. But in the 48 hours, we really bonded with her, both her and I. So we got her to the clinic today, had him scanned for a chip. There's a chip inside her. Chip led us to the owners, and we took the dog back. And it sucked because we really bonded with the dog. It was a really particularly good dog. She was very sweet, very kind, very nice. And I never heard her bark in the 48 hours she was here. The perfect kind of dog, and so loving. And it broke our heart a little bit. So we had planned to eat lunch together today. What did we eat? We ate barbecue. And there's no way at the restaurant that I went to that there's any way I could keep a calorie count. But I would say my meal was probably 1,500 calories or 1,600 calories. And it was a moment of weakness, and it was a moment of doing it because I was hungry, doing it because I felt weak, doing it because I felt sad, and I wanted something to cheer me up. And Hogshead Barbecue here in Fayetteville has always cheered me up. Their potato salad alone is enough to get me through a funeral. The rib sandwich I had today would be enough to get me through a bout with cancer. So overall, it's frustrating that I did it, and I regret it now. But it's it's emotional eating. But if I watch the rest of my caloric intake today, for breakfast I had just 400 calories. For lunch, another 1,500. That's 2,000 calories. My goal is 2,500 calories, and my basic metabolic rate's 4,100 calories. So if I can eat something that's less than 1,000 calories for dinner, I'm still going to be on track. But it's one of those moments where I have to realize that just because I made one big mistake doesn't mean that it throws the entire thing out of the window, and that it's manageable, and that when you're on a recovery like this, you're going to make mistakes. That's one of the reasons we measure, alcoholic success in 3 month and 6 month and 1 year chips. It's why we remember that this isn't just a battle; it's a war, and you can't win every battle, but you could still win the war. So I'm a little down on myself today. If you guys feel like being down on me too, feel free to yell at me in my comments, because I deserve it. I need it. That's why I'm making this video. I want you to tell me that to keep my ass on track and stop doing stupid shit like that just because I had my heart broke a little bit today. Because I got to tell you something, it doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it any better in the long run. You know, uh, dog or not, family or not, heartache or not. It doesn't pay to be one of the fattest men on YouTube.